Hi, everyone. So it's good to be here. This is our last lesson in our 10-week mindfulness series that we do for Anza MPS. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've gotten something out of it. And we're gonna do one more practice where I show you yet another way to be mindful, because I want you to have as many of these ways in your toolbox as you go off into the sunset and hopefully have a practice of your own. Okay, so let's begin to gather our attention, right? Go ahead and choose your posture. And then let your eyes either close or stay low gaze, whatever works for you. And just begin to use your form of settling in. You know, what does that include? Does it include a couple of deep breaths? Is it bringing attention to gravity, to contact points? You know, how do you begin to settle yourself? Maybe feeling your butt on the chair, whatever it is. I'll allow you some time to go ahead and begin to settle your attention. Okay, so now I'm going to invite you to bring your attention to your whole body sitting, whatever that feeling is to you. And we're going to let this be the anchor today. Unless you want to choose another anchor, you can do that. And this practice is called noting. We're going to just allow our attention to go where it wants, and our job will be to note where it goes. So again, we begin with our anchor, noticing the sensation of our whole body sitting. And we bring our attention there for as long as it's willing, and then when it moves, we just note, where did it go? What is it? Where is our attention now? So let me show you an example. I'll do it for a few seconds. So right now I'm noticing my body standing. I'm standing. So I notice the pressure in my feet. So I'm just going to use a word and say, pressure. And then as my attention moves, it was like, what's the next thing I'm going to say? It was like thinking, planning. Now I notice a breeze coming through a window. So I'll say breeze, cool. Now let's move back to the pressure. So pressure of standing, so pressure. Sounds. Sounds. It was a different sound. Planning. Okay, so hopefully you get the idea. Wherever your attention goes, just note it with a word. We'll follow our attention. Now, if your mind gets too far away, like you've noticed, oh, I'm not tracking my attention anymore, I'm actually really just lost in thought, no worries, right? Just gently come back to your anchor and begin again. Let your attention move where it goes and note. But I'm also going to ask you to add one more thing to this noting. You can notice if where your attention goes, how it makes you feel, if it's changed how you feel. So let's say, I'll give you a short example. I'm noting in sound. But let's say that sound is like a banging sound that I don't like. So I'll say unpleasant. So the point is it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Thinking. Neutral. Pressure. Unpleasant. Breeze. Pleasant. So you see, you just note where your attention goes and then add how it affects your body. So we're tracking that where our attention goes can affect how we feel. So it's important to know where our attention is. Yeah. So go ahead. And just remember, as always, if it's really super uncomfortable, you don't need to keep your attention there. You can come back to your anchor, or you can even open your eyes and look around and settle yourself that way. Let your eyes and your environment settle you, and then go ahead and go back in. But if it's just mildly uncomfortable, see if we can hang with it, right? Just begin to be curious and notice about discomfort. So now bringing your attention back to that sensation of sitting, we're going to begin to come back. So noticing, your body in the chair. Noticing your body, you can begin to move body parts, wiggle your toes or shrug your shoulders. Open your eyes, looking around. And then when you're ready, go ahead and come back to the screen. Okay, so how was that for you? I left some space. That was a long time, maybe 3 minutes of quiet, hopefully. Yeah, and to get really a sense of how it is to be quiet for a minute, to be still, I should say, and but you can entertain your mind by noticing where your attention's going. Yeah. And then you can notice how it affects your body. Where you put your attention affects how you feel. Yeah. So believe it or not, that's another way. It's called noting, another practice. But we haven't even touched on all the ways and all the things we can be mindful of, because we can be mindful of things like, because there's so many present moment experiences, right? We can be mindful of walking, eating, our emotions. We didn't do our emotions. That's a nice roller coaster ride. Yeah. So I'm hoping again that you continue this practice and go forward and see all the ways in which you can be mindful and that they actually help you. So we're going to do just a little bit of review so that you can remember the whole point of this. Okay, so remember that your attention is your superpower. So guard it, right? Know where it's at. Uh, yeah, practice moving it so you have control over it. Don't let the social media and the news people and the marketers get a hold of it too much. Yeah, put it to where you want it. It's your attention. Because where you put your attention, right, creates your reality. It really does. And that affects how you feel, how you see the world, how well you handle stress. It's sort of like a flashlight, right? Where you put your attention, but you can move the flashlight and say, I want to look over here, right? You can direct your attention. And if you remember in the beginning, we talked about that it has some weaknesses, even though it's a superpower. So you have a limited supply, right? So you want to be picky and choosy about where you put it. And then it can get so easily hijacked by the survival brain. And, thank you, survival brain, for keeping us alive all these I don't know, however many years, right? But it's done its job. But we need to actually use our prefrontal cortex to manage that survival brain. And we do that by managing our attention. And of course, it takes practice to learn how to manage our attention. So remember, when we're talking about the survival brain, it gets hijacked. It's hijacked when you're stressing or worrying or have those racing thoughts, the what ifs, the fears, the angers, right? But how we can manage it is to direct our attention to some present moment experience with curiosity, like be curious about it, because you can't be curious and scared at the same time. So if you really go, wow, this is interesting, let me check this out. And then, or kindness, because if you're feeling some sadness, you meet it with kindness. Again, you're using different parts of the brain, right? So those present moment experiences that we practiced with in this class were body sensations, right? Remember, we did the body scan. We practiced bringing attention to the exhale, to the what's going well in our life, to the contact points, to the gravity, to visually pleasant, right? We brought attention to our thoughts without the story, just watching them. What are they? Future, past? Are we analyzing something? We brought attention to our breath, to sounds, and then to positive states, right? We didn't do the gratitude here. That's another thing you can be mindful of. But we did the compassion. So, yeah. So speaking of practice, what's the best way to practice if you were going to go on? So there's two ways. We have formally and informally. Formally is sort of like what we did here, which is we had a certain time, we did it for a certain amount, and had that block of time to do it. If you're going to do it formally, what you want to do is decide, like where, when, how often, how long. So, is it going to be in the morning, 5 minutes a day during the week? Is it going to be in the evening, 10 minutes, 3 times a week? Where do I want to do it? You want to find a place that's quiet, comfortable, a pleasant space for yourself, right? So you want to go there. How long should I do it? Trust your body, see what's comfortable. Start with maybe 5 minutes, see what happens. Yeah. And then, make that commitment. So you might want to put it in your phone. I always sign up for 10% Happier. It's one of the apps, and they do challenges. They have little talks and challenges, sort of like my thing. It's very cool. And but once you've done the challenge, it's really, they want me to pay for it. So they go, here's a free challenge. And then after, they give me a discount, which I don't take. But they ask me every morning for like 2 weeks after the challenge, they say it's time to meditate at 7 a.m., right? The little reminder comes on my phone. So you might set a reminder on your phone. And then, once you found your place, your time, all that, just sit down, set a timer, and go ahead and do like we do. Settle your attention a little bit, bring your attention to some anchor, and then if your mind wanders, gently bring it back. Yeah. If it gets hard in there, give it love. If it gets way too hard, pop out. Yeah. And speaking of apps, there's some great ones. We have Calm, 10% Happier, Headspace. Liberate is like for people of color, so they have a lot of teachers that are persons of color. Or you can join an online group that just sits. Mine is online. They're there 7 days a week from 7:30 to 8:15. They just ring a bell at 7:30. They don't say anything. We all just sit on Zoom, and then they ring a bell at 8:15, and we all say bye, and that's it. Or I don't have to be there the whole 45 minutes. I jump in for 10 minutes maybe for the whole thing. Yeah. So that's a really good way to kind of help you formally, to get you going practice wise. And the benefits of practicing formally is that you build the skill quicker because you're more consistent, right? But you can also totally practice informally. And those benefits of informally is that you can do it anywhere and on the go. And what's important about these short moments of awareness is that they can become automatic and continuous. So you don't have to have this, formal sit type thing. You can just do through the day short moments of awareness. So what does that look like? So you decide, okay, I'm going to be mindful of what? Pick something in your life that you do. Maybe washing dishes, maybe brushing your teeth, maybe just sitting down to do your homework or getting in the car before you start the car, eating, walking, whatever you're going to be mindful of. And so then you remember, hopefully. It's hard to remember. I know that's one of the hardest parts. But let's say you're saying, I'm going to be mindful of brushing my teeth. Then you just bring your attention to that whole experience of brushing your teeth, right? You smell the toothpaste, you taste the toothpaste, you feel the bristles, right? You hear the water, the whole thing. And your mind will wander, right? Because our mind wanders. And you just say, oh, wow, look at that. And then come back. Okay, no, I'm going to feel this. And that's you bringing your attention back, right? You're practicing moving that attention back so that muscle gets stronger. Same with eating, you sit down, smell it, look at it, taste it, one bite at a time. Are you really hungry? Just notice what's happening. Walking, right? You notice your feet touching the ground, you notice the sounds around. So you can really be mindful of anything, right? At a stop sign. Oh, so another way is that you can set a tone on your phone, right? To go off or have some time in the day that's going to remind you to be mindful, right? So it could be a tone on your phone that you set that goes off randomly. It could be every time you get a text. It could be when you're stopped at a stoplight, right? It could be when you're waiting in line for a coffee. And so what you will do is you will pick an anchor, right? You'll say, I'm going to notice the sensation of my feet on the ground as I'm standing in this line. And then you'll probably find that your mind will wander like, I wish they'd hurry up and I'm late for work. And can I bring my attention back to that sensation of my feet? So this is informal practice and it's just as good. It's great. Okay. Okay. So stop sharing here. Let me just look at the time. Yeah. So I really appreciate your participation in watching these videos. I hope from the bottom of my heart that it's given you something, some benefit, some understanding, anything. And I do hope that you continue your practice. But at any rate, at least you know what mindfulness is, right? You know that your attention is your superpower and you can learn to manage it. And I wish you luck and health and peace going forward, and good luck on your finals. Okay, take care. Bye bye.